Reading from the Caitanya-bhāgavata Antya-khaṇḍa, text, chapter 5, text 90. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Śākete prabhura prtia Rāghava jāniyā, rāndhiyā āchena śāka vividha āniyā. Rāghava knew that the Lord was fond of śāka, so he cooked various kinds of śāka. Om timirandasya gananjana shalakaya, taksur udmalatam yena tasmai Sri Gurave namaha. Sri Caitanya-bhāgavata Antya-khaṇḍa yena bhutale swayam rupa kadamayam dadati sa padantikam. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhayevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, greetings from Kerala. It's quite a nice, beautiful place to be, especially at this time of the year. I just came back from the Shiradar, where they pour substances on your head for an hour. But it is kind of rejuvenating, and the place is really first class run. And today they had a feast on banana leaves. Every 10 days, they, in about 15 preparations, but all subtle, real subtle South Indian tastes, not too heavy. They really know how to serve and be attentive to the people that are here. And Ayurveda is to make the sick healthy and the healthy healthier. I'm in the second category. So I thought it was a good time at stage of my life to kind of do this kind of detox, although I lost 10 days being quarantined. Now, we're having this scene where Lord Chaitanya is meeting his various devotees who love him, because it's Tasmin Parma Prema Rup. It's the highest form of love, is love of Godhead. And that love is not just a mental conception, it's an energy. It's an energy of the soul that when it's free from false ego, connects with God. And it's the highest pleasure because it's connected with the Ladini Shakti. The essence of Ladini Shakti is Krishna Prema. So we're just seeing this because we're meant to be attracted to this. Prema Pumartha Mahan. This prema is the goal of life. And what else can be the goal of life than happiness? And what else can be happiness but the highest love? I discuss this. So we're meant to see this and aspire for this and change our perspective in life. Change our faith from controlling and enjoying to serving and loving and having faith that what is antithetical to material consciousness, which is moving out of the center, is the locus where our heart can open up. That's obvious, isn't it? I mean, who's happy? Who's a happy, selfish person? No matter what they have, no matter what power they have. I can feel sorry for the richest people in the world because they're disconnected from themselves. It seems that way. So what a horrible position to be in. And knowing that that conception is going to end soon and that every day it's bringing you closer to that. So he's exchanging with the devotees, and he asked Rāghava Pandit to cook for him. And this is an exchange of love. In love, you can ask those whom you love for service as an expression of love, like a child. Mommy, 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 can you get me that? But it's love also. It's a feeling of love. Motherly love and that type of love and love of God. So Lord Chaitanya says, can you cook for me? And Badram Te, what's more auspicious than service? And in that high degree of love, he becomes very ecstatic and he cooks a variety of preparations in the consciousness of devotion, not for one's own sense gratification, but as Prabhupada describes the gopis in the 10th canto, they had lust to satisfy the senses of Krishna. It's not actually lust in that sense, but it's the kama-rup. It's an intensity of desire to please one's beloved. And also here, the Lord was fond of śāka. So spiritually, you also have proclivities. You have things you like, and that does not make you impure, that you have things that you like. That's just part of your nature. That's just part of your nature. You have things that you like. Prabhupada liked kachoris. It's just part of his nature. But when one is pure, one's focused on the pleasure of Krishna. And even the things that one likes, one tastes as the prasad of Krishna, as the pleasure of Krishna. And there's a special devotion in that, because whatever we like, we think is the best. So it really can give a facility to bring out the devotion in our lives. Prabhu, one of my mentors, godbrother and mentors, made a brilliant point that our taste in Krishna consciousness is the door to the spiritual world, because that's where we can become absorbed, and that's where we can awaken our devotion. Of course, on the ultimate platform, what bhakti is not the activity, but the liking to please Krishna. But they're connected. They're connected, because whatever you like best, you generally can offer the most devotion. But that's the consciousness. And it's our lifelong struggle to actually develop that in our hearts and develop faith in that. And how do we do it? Taramadye, Sarva Shreshte, Nama Sankirtan, Nara Aparade Poya, Paya Pradra, 9 process devotional service. Of all them, chanting is the best. After joyfully finishing his meal, the Lord washed his hands and mouth and sat down. Bhunte bhojyate chaiva. Yeah, I heard in Bengal, if there's 2 people eating, one is serving. Because the pleasure of eating is very much connected, not just with the senses, but the love you receive. So, Rāghava Mandira Shune Sri Gora Shunda Gadadhar Das died. As soon as Gadadhar heard that Sri Gora Sunda was at Rāghava's house, he quickly came there. Gadadhar, Prabhura Parama Priya Gadadhar Das, Bhakti Shuka Purna, Yana Vigraha Prakash. The Bengali is so sweet, and it's a lot of words that we understand. Prabhura to Caitanya, Parama Priya, he's the supreme beloved. He was extremely dear, Gadadhar. Bhakti Shuke Purna, Yadra, Vigraha Prakash, and his form was filled with the happiness of devotional service. And of course, Gadadhar is Sri Radha in Gaur Leela, and there's a very, very subtle point that is made. What is the mood of Radha? It's service. And what service means, and service means to fulfill the desire of the person who you want to serve. And actually, the desire to serve someone has kind of almost a mystical potency, to enter into that person's heart and understand what their desires are. Not everybody can understand the deepest desires of Chaitanya, but Rupa Goswami, who is so intent on serving Lord Chaitanya, Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam, he knew the Abhishtam, the secret of his heart. So Gadadhar is Radha, he knows the heart of his beloved. And what's the heart of his beloved? Krishna in the form of Chaitanya. He wants the mood of Radha. He wants to experience that love. And because he wants to experience that love, Radha in the form of Gadadhar does not express that mood of Radha. Because if he is expressing the mood of Radha, it'd be very difficult for Krishna to shift from the mood of Krishna to the mood of Radha. So as a service out of love for Chaitanya, to help him develop the mood of Radha, he comes without that mood, which is very unusual in Gaur Leela, because in Gaur Leela and Chaitanya Leela, the associates of Krishna that generally appear in the same mood. And the classic example is Satyabhama, the queen of Dwarka, who is very, very heavy personality in terms of her relationship with Krishna. She came as Jagannatha Pandit, who had that same mood. Or Mother Yasoda comes as Mother Sachi, or Nanda Maharaj comes as Jagannath Mishra. So there's generally that kind of connection. But Gadadhar has these two, so Gadadhar is the mood of service. But he wants Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to attain his desire of getting the mood of Radha. And how does he do it? He eventually in Puri, where he's taking care of the Totat Gopinath deity, he's teaching the Bhagavatam. He's teaching the Bhagavatam, and not just the 10th canto. He also taught Prahlad Charita, the story of Prahlad, and the story of Dhruva. The story of Dhruva is the story of determination. And the story of Prahlad is the story of unbroken devotional service. So these are also components. It's not just the 10th canto teaches you the mood of the gopis. The whole Bhagavatam does, because there's so many components of consciousness and understanding that one needs to get to that platform. And Lord Chaitanya would hear these stories again and again, that the story of Dhruva, the ultimate determination to attain your goal. And basically, that's what we have to do. We have to develop the determination. And that's what life is actually teaching us. You know, I'm trying to manifest my next Monday morning greetings. I was surprised because I wrote about this, you know, omens and free will, and somehow or other, I wasn't thinking that this would be such a great Monday morning greetings, but so many people have written me about it. So the next one is, I'm talking about COVID fatigue. Restrictions, some freedom, some restrictions, some freedom, the COVID fatigue. But I'm just thinking, it's really life fatigue. What is life fatigue? Bhutva, paliyate. In the Bhagavad Gita, it says this world is destroyed again and again and again and again. And what's destroyed again and again and again? The conception, I am the doer, I am the controller, I am the enjoyer. And eventually, the whole plan is for us to become tired of that. Tired of trying to attain a position we cannot have by our own constitution. So anyway, this is Gadadhar. When the Lord saw the fortunate Gadadhar, he placed his lotus feet on his head. This is an intimate relationship. So it's just briefly describing different people. At that time, Randa Pandit and Parameshwar Das, in whose deity Gaurchand manifested himself, quickly came there, and seeing the Lord, they both cried in ecstasy. It's just, we have emotions, and one emotion that can make us cry is a feeling of overwhelming kindness and mercy. And that's one of the main emotions that we actually cultivate in devotional service. And it's based on humility. That's why the verse, Trinadapi, Sunichena, Tororapi, Sahishnana, Amanina, Madanena, Kirtaniya Siddhahari. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street, more tolerant than the tree, devoid of all sense, false. And such a state of mind, one could chant constantly. Constantly. Yeah. Raghunatha Vaidya, Ailena. Oh, so here the purport it says, Mahaprabhu manifest in Gauranga deity worshipped by Parameshwara, who lived in the village of Tada Antapur. He began the worship of the deity form. So this was kind of special too. And Parama Vaishnava, Anta Nahi Yanraguna. He came at that time. He was a great Vaishnava with unlimited good qualities. Good qualities based on the soul. What are good qualities? Okay, we're going to find the person who's, okay. What are the good qualities? What are the qualities when the soul manifests? Devotion, compassion, gratitude, and humility. Devotion, compassion, gratitude, and humility. That's the budding of the soul. And a person with good qualities, he's imbued with those qualities. Okay. All right. Okay, I can see myself here, and you can see that nice little natch there. Now I wash my laundry by myself. Kind of like that. Like that. In this way, Vaishnavas came from wherever they were to meet the Lord. That's one of we mentioned before, one of the symptoms of love is wanting to be, prema, wanting to be with that person. It's just so natural. Panihati grame hoila parama anand apani saksha yata prabhu. The village of Panihati became filled with ecstasy, for Lord Chaitanya was personally present there. The supreme object of love was in their presence. And like a magnet drawing out that love and happiness in their hearts. Rāghava panda prati Shri Gaura Sunda nibriti korila kichu rahasya. Sri Gaura Sunda spoke some confidential topics to Rāghava Pandit in a solitary place. Confidential, I've explained this many times. I guess I've been doing this for years, but things that are confidential are things that we know that others do not have a frame of reference to appreciate and understand, either appreciate or understand. And therefore, we keep them to ourselves. And one of those things is the depth of, one of those things is the manifestation of the highest love, which is the love between Radha and Krishna. Because if a person's not purified, he won't be able to understand. He won't be able to understand them. He'll project his lack of understanding, and he'll project his case. Someone doesn't have their phone muted, so if you either mute it or be careful. So, yeah, things that are very, very confidential, which people will misunderstand. I'm very careful when I speak. So one thing that's very painful for me is being misunderstood in my own nature. That's why I take so much pains to explain things so carefully. That may be ordinary knowledge, but confidential knowledge means there are things in each individual that other people can't appreciate and understand. And I'm trying to get back to this point, but it's not clear now. I'll try to explain it more clearly. I always explain spiritual prejudice. You judge things not by what it is, but by a similar experience, which you generalize. And that's the same with Radha Krishna pastimes. You prejudge it not for what it is, the highest love, but something similar, which is mundane love, at least in its form, which you generalize and prejudge the pure pastimes of Radha and Krishna through that improper lens. But here, Lord Chaitanya wants to explain something else, and he's explaining it confidentially because he's going to highlight one of his associates as very, very special. And perhaps he feels that not everyone will understand it. Perhaps some will be envious. It's funny in this CC, what's really interesting is when Lord Chaitanya brings, when the Caitanya-bhāgavata, CC, Chaitanya Charitamrita, when he brings Rupa Goswami into the assembly of the Vaishnavas, he starts glorifying him and he's testing the Vaishnavas. He's testing the Vaishnavas. Icha dvesha samutena dvandvamo, because we're born into this world overcome with the dualities of desire and hate. It's hard for someone who's the acharya or the guru to point out this particular person, because envy is so powerful. So perhaps Lord Chaitanya is not ready to tell this to everyone. He says, Rāghava tomara ami nija gopya kai, amara dvitiya nahi nityananda bhat. Oh, Ragha, I have something confidential to tell you. Nityananda is not different from me. Because there's only difference in color. What's the difference between Krishna and Balaram? They're the same. They're the same. They're both Swayam Bhagavan. They're not a different person. The difference is their color, but actually it's the same person. It's just Krishna expanding for all affairs of existence and knowledge. Existence means the creation of everything, and knowledge means guru. So Krishna, who's the supreme enjoyer, expands for all affairs of existence of knowledge. That's Balaram Tattva. And Nityananda is non-different from Balaram. So he's revealing this now. He's not different from me. And therefore, he's giving an instruction. E Nityananda ye koriye amare, say kori ami e balaya. I tell you, I do whatever, no, not instruction. I tell you, I do whatever Nityananda wants me to do. He loves Nityananda. I tell you frankly that all my activities are performed through Nityananda. So this is also very interesting in Jagannath Puri. Krishna, in the form of Chaitanya, enters into Puri. He enters into Puri to fulfill the internal reason for his descent. It's Krishna wanting to experience the love of his topmost devotee at the height of her love. So Nityananda briefly comes to Puri, but he doesn't stay there. Again, because why? He's the servant to Godhead. And that type of mood of Radha, the brother Balaram, it's not conducive for that mood to come out. Conjugal feelings don't come out when the brother is there. So because he's the servant to a Godhead, Nityananda, he takes on the external reason for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance, his internal reason, why he came for himself, is to experience this highest love, and the external reason why he came for others is to give it. So Nityananda leaves Puri for those two reasons. And he goes to preach Krishna consciousness. So he says, all my activities are performed for him. And he says, Ye ame sei Nityananda Bedanai. There's no difference. Tomara Gare Shabe Janabhai Etai. There is no difference between myself and Nityananda. Everyone in your house will come to know this. From Nityananda, you will easily obtain that which is rarely obtained by the best of mystic yogas. Radha Krishna Nahi Pai. Wait, okay. Nittai Pada Kamala Koti Chandra Susitala Ye Chayai Jagata Jurai Ye Chayai Jagata Turai Heino Nittai Bine Bai Radha Krishna Paite Pai Heino Nittai Bine Bai. Without Nityananda, Radha Krishna Paite Na, you don't get Radha Krishna. Ye Chayai Jagata Jurai. No, I already said that one. So you can get it by the mercy of Nityananda. So this is Nityananda Tattva. Therefore, you should very carefully serve Nityananda, knowing him to be the Supreme Lord himself. And it's just wonderful for us to hear this. Otherwise, how do we develop the relationship with Lord Nityananda? Unless we hear from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu what his special position is. Makaraja Kari Prati Sri Gauranga Chandra Balilena Sevihat Tumi Sri Rāghavananda. Sri Gauranga then said to Makaradwaj Kara, you should serve Rāghavananda. Know for certain that your love for me will be shown by your love for Rāghava Pandit. Love means to satisfy someone's desires. So if someone loves someone, that person's desire is that person is served. By serving that person, this is one, then you please the person who loves them. And this is really the secret of Krishna consciousness, because Krishna loves his devotees, he loves his pure devotees, but because he's in a superior position, it is very difficult for them to accept Krishna's service. So Krishna fulfills that desire through his devotees. And know how pleasing that is to Krishna. What does it say? I forgot. One who says my devotee is my devotee. One who says he's a devotee of my devotee, that he's a devotee. So in this way, Lord Gauranga made the village of Panihati glorious by staying there a few days. Now he's going to go to another place. Let me see if we have time to, oh, okay, we do. Thereafter, the Lord went to Varahanagara and stayed in the house of one most fortunate Brahmana. That Brahmana was expert in reciting Srimad Bhagavatam. So on seeing the Lord, he began to recite Bhagavatam. So the Bhagavatam is meant to be sung. And there are people who are very expert, like there's one Nityananda Das, I'm very close with him. And I bring him into my classes sometime, and how he would chant these verses. Tabakatam ritam tapta jivanam kavibha indritam kalmasapanam. It's just so beautiful. Jayati dikam. So chanting so beautiful and has so much meaning. And one's chanting that and one actually knows the language and he hears it. It has a profound effect on his heart. When Gaur Chandra Narayan heard his recitation of verses glorifying devotional service, he became absorbed in ecstasy. Lord Gauranga repeatedly roared loudly, read on. As that Brahmin recited, he became absorbed in ecstasy, and the Lord lost external consciousness as he danced. That's the effect of love. It stirs the heart, and as I quoted from the introduction to Bhakti Sandarbha, Bhakti is best expressed in seva, which is loving reciprocation to the Lord through the faculties of mind, body, and words. So when you're feeling devotion, you want to serve. Loving reciprocation through the words, through glorification, through the body, paying obeisances, doing service, through the mind, through beautiful thoughts. So the Lord, it was overwhelmed from hearing the Bhagavatam because he's in this high mood of devotion. He loses external consciousness as he danced. The Lord repeatedly fell with force to the ground as he heard those verses glorifying devotional service. The Lord manifests wonderful ecstatic love, then frightened everyone as he forcibly fell to the ground. In this way, the Lord, who is an ocean of transcendental qualities, danced for 9 hours that night while hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Thereafter, Sri Satchidananda regained external consciousness and happily embraced that Brahman. So there are 5 most potent items of devotional service: chanting the holy name, serving the deity, serving the devotees, hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, and residing in a holy place. These are very, very potent. And when one's heart is receptive, it can have a very, very powerful effect. The Lord said, I've never heard such a nice explanation of Srimad Bhagavatam from anyone. I therefore designate you Bhagavat Acharya. Your only duty is to recite Srimad Bhagavatam. When everyone heard the suitable designation the Lord gave the Brahmin, they all chanted the name of Hari. In this way, the Lord stayed in the houses of various devotees as he passed through all the villages on the bank of the Ganges. The Lord fulfilled everyone's desire and then returned to Nilachala. One who hears these pastimes of the Lord's return to Bengal will never suffer any distress. Throughout Nilachala, the news spread, the crest jewel of sannyasis has returned. In great ecstasy, everyone acclaimed, Jai, Jai. The moving Jagannath has come to Nilachala, that's Puri. When Sarvabhauma and the other associates of the Lord in Utkal, that's Orissa, heard the news, they immediately went to see the Lord. The devotees had been inflicted for many days with feelings of separation from the Lord. Now, on seeing the Lord, they joyfully began kirtan. The Lord embraced everyone with great affection and soaked them with tears from his eyes. In this way, Sri Gaurasundar joyfully resided in Nilachala at the house of Kasi Mishra. People from all provinces saw Gaur Chand become overwhelmed with ecstasy while constantly dancing and singing. Sometimes he would dance before Lord Jagannath in such ecstatic love that he showed no external consciousness. Sometimes Mahaprabhu danced at the house of Kashi Mishra, and sometimes he danced on the shore of the ocean. In this way, he constantly manifested ecstatic pastimes. He did not engage in any other activity, even for a moment. When the conch shell was blown in the temple and the doors opened, he went there to greet Lord Jagannath. The ecstatic love he manifests while seeing Lord Jagannath was wonderful and indescribable. Tears flowed from his eyes like currents of the Ganges. The people of Utkal were amazed to see this, and as a result, they did not feel any distress or lamentation. On whatever path Chaitanya Maharaj traveled, everyone would begin to chant the name of Hari. Soon, Prataparudra came to know Sri Gaura Sundar has come to the Lachala. So now we'll hear the news of the great king who was lamenting because a king is called Vishaya, means sense gratifier, because for his service of ruling, he has to manifest Aishwarya, because Aishwarya, opulence, is what creates a mood of service in people. That's the principle of the universal form. The first step in God realization is for materialists. They connect the powers of the universe to God, because powerful things make one serve. Even in the modern age, if a famous politician comes, or a person who's famous or rich or things, it creates that mood. So the king would have to exhibit a certain opulence of palaces and women and so many things. So a sannyasi would never associate with a king. But here was a devotee that so much wanted to be with the Lord that he was actually cursing his opulence. It was an opulence. So that story will be told. Okay, Jamunajaya, what point did you like today? And anybody else could share.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for class. There's so many points. I love, again, hearing and seeing Tota Gopinath's screen. And when you're talking about Gadadhar teaching the Bhagavatam, every time I've been to that temple, I'm like, oh my God, this is where this happened. It's mind-blowing. It's such a gift that you've taken us there. But I really like the point of going from trying to control. Oh, you said it. Where'd it go? From controlling and enjoying to serving and loving. That's the journey, from controlling and enjoying to serving and loving. I really love that journey and that point. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamunajaya. Anybody else would like to share something that they appreciated? Gail?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yeah,
it was so amazing. It was such a simple point, but it's a point that has always given me trouble in the past. When you said that, we can ask for things as an expression of love. So somehow or other, it just really, it was like a light bulb kind of experience hearing you say that.
Gaurangi, I'm enlightening you.
All the time, Maharaj, all the time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Anybody
you.
else like to say hello?
Hare Krishna Gumaraj, Tota Gopinath here.
We just wanted to see Tota Gopinath so much, so thank you.
Haribo.
Okay, anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you very much for the class.
Wow.
Yes, Anna, yeah.
Wow, we will hopefully see you. I'm going to send out a little message to the people coming with the information I have. I mean,
yeah,
what the situation is, and
Okay, I'm looking forward to come. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay,
we'll do everything to keep people safe. Anybody else like to say hello?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thanks for the class.
Suryaradhika. Haribol. Good. Okay. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Govinda. Thank you for class.
Wow, Haribol.
Haribol. Looking forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah, okay, great. Good. Anybody else? Okay, I'm gonna go now to take dinner here. I look pretty healthy, right? The treatment is good. There's no effect from the little COVID I had. And hey, where are you, Donna?
Oh, Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for class. I'm at work right now.
What? I thought you worked from home.
I got a new job. I work at the Clark Art Institute. It's a museum.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a few months ago.
It's a good job?
Yeah, it's great. Yep. It's in Williamstown. It's a little bit further from where I used to be, but it's in the Berkshires. It's good. It's a good job.
Well, looks like you got a huge office there.
Yeah, most people are working remote, but I like coming into the office. And then this is my view. I've got a really good view.
Whoa. Okay, the Berkshires. That's nice. Okay. And will you make their catalogs?
I do graphic design for them. So like ads and email stuff and books.
Is it what kind of museum is it?
It's a pretty big, famous museum. They've got, lots of big artists, and it's a pretty big institution up here.
What's it called?
The Clark Art Institute.
Clark. It's in Berkshires?
Yeah. Yep. The town is Williamstown.
Okay, wait, say that again. The Williams?
Oh, the name of the town is Williamstown, Massachusetts. There's a college up here.
Okay,
nice
but the Clark's Institute?
Yep. Yep. The Clark.
The Clark Institute. Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, we'll head out then. What you call it through this?